Confessions of a Gamer. Your dirtiest and most miserable secrets that you have as a gamer. It can be anything. And we threw this out to the forums and we got quite a few responses, especially Jonas give us 2 or 3 answers, Sam give us a very long answer, and Waka Jr. as well give us a few answers. So we'll be taking you through those amidst our gaming confessions. Who wants to get us started, boys? Who's going to confess to a gaming sin?
I say Greg goes first. I'm interested to hear Greg's.
I'm sure there's plenty of sins, but honestly, when I came up with the idea for this for this segment, slowly started to realise that I couldn't really think of very much that I was ashamed of or anything. Maybe there's more I should be ashamed of. But the first one that sort of came to my mind was GoldenEye on the N64.
Mm-hmm.
And loved that game growing up, played it quite a lot. Agent difficulty was sweet spot, enjoyed that, and then played through Secret Agent. I think finished that okay. And then obviously Double Agent is very, very difficult, especially those last levels Aztec and can't remember what the other one was called.
Temple.
I think the Aztec level has I think it's a very difficult level, and there's area where you have to go a specific route across tiles or something to reach something.
Oh no, that's the temple level. That's the one after it, I think. To get the golden gun, you have to go across that specific path, no?
Yeah. Like I say, I can't remember what it said. It must be that level, yeah.
Does Jaws appear in that one? Or that's the Aztec one Jaws appears
Jaws is in Aztec. It's Baron Samedi's in the final level.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I always struggled with that and knew I would never beat it. And I sit there proudly at the moment with the way once you fully complete the game, you have you unlock the 007 mode where you can set the sliders to how difficult things are and whatnot. I used an invincibility cheat to beat that level, and that is something I have to live with the rest of my life. But it was obviously you can unlock different cheats in GoldenEye, and I'm sure there is an invincibility one which you unlock. There may even be the facility level or something. I was never going to be able to beat that in that sort of time, so I found code online to a button combination to do invincibility, and that's how I fully completed GoldenEye. Sorry.
I did that 00 Agent on facility in 1 minute 20.
26, is it?
Something like that.
I can't remember. It was 1 minute 26 and you got to get in
Dr. Dog had to be in exactly the right place for it to work.
Yeah.
I used an action replay to do that. With invincibility.
It's all coming out.
It's all coming out, yeah. I don't think I ever finished GoldenEye on 00 Agent, but I definitely did it on Secret Agent.
The way we finished it, because we were in university at the time, is we just used to pass the controller around, We used to go, right, you go, and we just four of us, our roommates, we just took it in one turn at a time, and just see who could do it. So I can't honestly say that I have finished GoldenEye, but I finished it as part of a team. So we've all got that same gaming confession there. Amazing. So Waka Jr. has something which kind of plays upon, I'm sure everybody has this. He says, skipping lessons to get a copy of Ocarina of Time on launch day. I used to be a big fan of getting games on launch day, but to this day remains the only game where a friend and I both got the games and missed school lessons to get it from town before heading home to play it. What a game though. And that decision didn't cost me an exam grade or a place at university, so it was definitely an afternoon well spent. He only did it once, by the sounds of it. I think I'm more guilty than him. I did it quite a few times. How about you, Nick?
Skipping school to play a video game or a new video game, I think it's not really a sin. It's perfectly acceptable. I think I did it, especially college, because, college wasn't mandatory, so I would often skip college to play a game. In fact, I spent most of college sitting at home playing Halo 2 on Xbox Live. Parents at work, brothers at school, nobody's at home. I'm at college. everybody thought, but no, I was sat in a dark room playing Xbox Live. My biggest sin about skipping something to play something, like some people maybe think this is a sin. I'm pleased with the decision that I made, but I didn't go to my secondary school graduation because the Wind Waker came out on the same day, so I skipped it.
The sin would have been going to the graduation.
Yeah, that's what I think as well. Like, Wind Waker came out. I'm pretty sure we weren't supposed to be at school that day. I'm pretty sure it was like half term. I can't remember now, to be honest. But I do remember 2 of my friends came at 5 o'clock and said, "Are you coming?" And I was like, "Oh no, I don't feel very well. I'm probably going to stay at home." And I had Wind Waker on upstairs, so yeah, don't regret it. Good decision. But I suppose along the same lines in terms of sin.
Yeah, I've got plenty of those from university, and GoldenEye is another example of skipping lessons to try and get those last invincibility cheats or whatever unlocked. Yeah, plenty. Just, I suppose the gaming sin is spending an insanely amount of time just sitting there, not moving for 2 days solid, in pajamas, not even pajamas, underwear and a dressing gown, and sitting there and passing the controller between 4 people for 2 days, and not turning up to university, finishing GoldenEye off.
Good.
It was fun.
I've actually never skipped school around
No.
to get a game. No, I'm a good boy.
Good man. What about Jonas? Jonas says, my first time playing, and I don't have this problem, Pokemon Red and Blue. Maybe Nick does. My first time playing through Pokemon Red and Blue, I used my only Master Ball on a level 5 Tentacool. There has to be some sort of sin.
That's bad. That's bad.
That is a bad decision, basically. Yeah. Is it a sin? I don't know. It's just a bad decision. Have you ever performed something in that kind of vein where you get a weapon or an in-game item that you should use on a final boss, for example, and then you haven't? You've used it on some meager Pikachu.
I'm pretty sure I used my Master Ball on my first playthrough on Articuno instead of Mewtwo. Because I'm pretty, like, what is it, Articuno or Zapdos, Moltres, you only get 1 chance to catch them, don't you? If you kill them, goodbye. If you don't catch them, goodbye. I'm pretty sure I used it on Articuno. Maybe I used it on... Because I remember I had Mewtwo as well, but I'm pretty sure I used it on Articuno because I just couldn't catch it. So, but again, it's not a level 5 Tentacle, so it's not that bad.
I suppose I've probably partially had it relatively recently with Dark Souls, actually. There was a boss I was having difficulty with, and I ended up using sort of changing my standard weapon because of the one I was using wasn't really working, and it was like a really strong weapon which was doing lots of damage, so I was having a great time with it, and then realised that it wasn't like a permanent weapon, so its power is now diminished, so if I struggle again later on, I'm probably going to be in trouble. Not really a sin as such, as more being silly, is Ocarina of Time. First time I played it, when you get to the fight with Ganondorf at the end, you know the way he's firing those lightning balls of lightning or whatever they are towards you, and you're sort of supposed to be swiping them back with the sword. I didn't realise you were supposed to use the sword for that point, and I did obviously tried it a couple of times, and I was getting hits. It's maybe the sword doesn't work. Maybe I'm supposed to try and use something else. And I was sort of going through different items and nothing really working. Used an empty jar.
Did you catch it?
And it knocks it back.
Does it?
So the first time I beat Ocarina of Time, I used the jar to beat Ganondorf.
That's not a gaming sin. That's professionalism.
That's idiocy.
My next gaming sin. Me and my ex-girlfriend, my first girlfriend, broke up because of a PS3. Well, we didn't break up, but we started the the breakup began from this moment. Like, I had a Wii. This was like 2007, 2008. I had a Wii. Got bored of it very quickly after initially loving it. Bought an Xbox 360. Played it too much. She would complain that I was playing it too much. Like, I was loving PGR3, PGR4, playing Halo and stuff like that. Gears of War, first one. Mirror's Edge. I remember I absolutely loved Mirror's Edge back in the day. And then GTA 4 was coming out. And I was like, I need to get GTA 4. So I pre-ordered it on Xbox. And the week that it was coming out, I got my student maintenance grant, which was like, I think it was like £1,300. And we had bought a house. I was living in a house that we'd bought together in Leeds. And then I read a review that said that GTA 4 on the PS3 looks better and runs better. So I cancelled my pre-order for the Xbox 360 version. I sold all my Xbox 360 games and traded it in basically for a PS3 with GTA 4 and paid an extra 150 quid. And then, like, I didn't tell her because I knew she'd be livid that I'd spent 150 quid on another game's console. So I didn't, because that evening I was going to a party, like a work party, basically. So I put the PS3 in the cupboard under the stairs so she wouldn't see it. And then one of my friends came round expecting, like, he just called round randomly at my house and he wanted to play GTA 3. My ex-girlfriend opened the door and he said, is Nick there? Because I heard he bought a PS3 and GTA 4 and I want to play it. And, like, she had no idea. And then she rang me straight away and she said, have you bought a PlayStation 3? And obviously I couldn't lie about it, and I told her, and she went to live with her parents for a week. And playing GTA 4 on the PS3 was strangely empty feeling when you know that you've just caused your girlfriend to go and live with her parents for a week as punishment for wasting money again on video games. And that was the last time that I bought a video game console that wasn't made by Nintendo. So that was the last like Sony or Microsoft console I bought. I sold the I didn't even finish GTA. I sold the PS3 like a week or two later because I had to, basically. And then cut my gaming time down a little bit until we broke up, and then I started, playing games again. But it was a very painful experience, and it taught me a very important lesson that don't waste all your money, especially money that's not really yours, on video games. Be responsible.
I'm sure we all have. Let's do another one from the forums. SCG, this is long. We'll all have a little read by you boys. That was good, Nick. SCG is on about games he hasn't finished. Super Mario Odyssey is his biggest gaming sin. He says, I just never finished it. Even though I was definitely enjoying the game at the time. I suppose this is partly down to there being too many games on the Switch. It could also be attributed to himself lacking discipline in finishing games. Either way, he recently sought to rectify the situation by returning to the game and making some progress. Greg, where did he go then?
So yeah, I suppose on his last play session, he finally recruited all of the musicians in New Donk City and got to see that impressive performance after completing the rather special piece of platforming, which I thought was a really well put together homage to a classic Nintendo game and an important part of Mario's history. Obviously, he's talking about the Donkey Kong bit, not to spoil it for anybody.
That's only about halfway through the game, isn't it? It's not even halfway.
Less than half, I would say. Yeah.
I was actually a wee bit disappointed in that section. Like, I obviously know what they were going for and stuff, but the actual like platform bit and stuff, it wasn't a particularly fun section to play. Like, it wasn't enjoyable. There wasn't much of a challenge to it or anything. Like, it was just there. That like it was good, but it could have been more. And then obviously he says in his comment, for anyone else who might not have played or finished the game yet, as I wouldn't want to spoil it for anyone else. Well, too late.
What else did he say, Nick?
As of yet, the game still remains unfinished, but my appreciation of it has risen in recent weeks since returning to the wonderful worlds of Super Mario Odyssey. and I'll be making a point of going back to the game on a more regular basis when I can, in a concerted effort to finally finish what is easily one of the best Mario games I've played since Super Mario Galaxy 2 on the Wii. It's probably safe to say that I'll have the game finished before any of the rumoured remakes of classic Mario games get released on the Switch. Well, we'll see. Now watch as Nintendo shadow drops them onto the console before the end of the month.
Yes.
Unlikely.
And
Unlikely.
I'm guilty of... No, I finished the kind of main story of Super Mario Odyssey, but I did drop off rather quickly after, and I haven't finished the second part of the Darker Side of the Moon. Haven't finished that one, so I'm a little bit guilty as well. Something I do need to get back to. Greg, anything else? Are there any games that you haven't finished?
Probably nothing really jumps to mind the minute. Like, I always kind of wonder, like, Donkey Kong Country on the SNES is one of my like favorite games ever. I've played through it like millions of times, but I've never actually went for the 100% or the 101% in it. It's not really a sin as such, but it's like for a game that I love so much, like I do find it odd that I haven't actually went back to find everything in it.
I think it's a game that you don't need to. I don't think I've ever 100%ed that either.
No, I haven't.
It's not a very long game either. Like, so
no.
If you spend like a few days just looking for the bonus stages and stuff, like,
is that what you need to do? You need to find all the bonus stages, yeah?
Yeah.
That's it, to get 100%.
Yep, like whenever like you beat a level, like once it's fully complete, the level name at the top of the screen will have an exclamation mark beside it.
Yeah. Because I attempted to 100% what's it called? Diddy's Conquest?
Yeah.
The second one. And I had a guide actually. I got the game with a guide for Christmas, I think in like 95. And I just couldn't do it, like, because you had to get the DK coin and do all the bonus stages, and then it would tell you at the top of the level, wouldn't it? Exclamation point and little DK. But I finished that game, but I never 100%ed it. It was too difficult for me back then.
And it's something you got to do in one run as well. You can't do it in subsequent runs, can you? You can't pick up the coin in one run and then do the bonus.
No,
things
you
in
can.
another run.
You can. Indeed, in the second one,
okay.
you can. You can get the coin in one run and then do the bonus stages in a separate run. That's fine.
Okay, that's
I think you can even like. I don't even think you have to finish the level. I think you just like pause the level and then hit select to exit.
out.
I think it's.
How about this from Waka Jr.? He says, I'm wondering if you owned one as well. I never did, so I don't have any experience of this. An action replay card for the N64. He says he preferred working hard in a game to get the reward, but earning that invincibility, and we've mentioned this before, a cheat in GoldenEye was just a bridge too far, and he did resort to using the action replay card to making himself invulnerable for certain levels. No, the irony isn't lost on me. Even then, I spent hours failing to complete the blasted level in under 2 minutes to earn the in-game cheat. Finally, I managed to achieve what I feared may be possible for me. While I had just a twinge of guilt from my actions, karma occurred when a full set of push-button codes were released, making all those hours kind of pointless.
Yeah, it's the same as what I did, exactly the same that I mentioned before. I had an action replay in the later one. I think it was called the Equalizer cartridge or something like that.
That rings a bell, yes.
So I had both of them at some point, not together. I had an action replay first and Equalizer later. So the GoldenEye, you could put on invincibility, which I did. There was another really good thing you could use called no clipping. So you could basically walk through doors. So you didn't have to open the door. You just walk straight through it. And walls as well. But another good thing about the action replay was that it allowed you to get to the hidden island on the dam level. I don't know if you remember that.
Yes. If you got the sniper rifle, you can just make it out off the distance of the top of the dam.
That was actually the whole reason why I bought an action replay card, because I'd seen it in N64 magazine or something. And me and my friend did it, and if you switch off clipping, if you put it to no clipping, then you can go out and cross the dam, to that island. There is nothing there. It is literally just a bunker, and it's empty inside as well. So, bit of a waste of time, really.
Did you think it was cool at the time, though? It's like, ooh.
Do you know what? That N64 era was so interesting. For so many rumors, so many stories about games. I think as well, being that age, being quite young before the internet as well really took off. like lots of little hidden secrets, rumors, stuff in GoldenEye, stuff in Mario 64, the swap and stop keys in Banjo-Kazooie. Like, there was so much stuff that we didn't understand, that we didn't know what to do with. Like, I used an action replay to get those keys and those eggs or whatever they were in Banjo-Kazooie, and they do nothing. You just get them and they don't do anything. Like, what was it? There was one in Freeze Easy Peak. I can't remember if it was a key or if it was an egg, but there was like a bit of
ice key.
Yeah, the ice key. There was like a bit of frozen ice you couldn't get through, wasn't there?
Mm-hmm.
But you could with an action replay. There was one in Treasure Trove Cove as well. Was that an egg? That one?
That's an egg. Yep.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And they said at the end of the game, didn't they? Like, everything will be revealed in Banjo-Tooie. And then in Tooie, I think they never did it, did they? Like, anything that could... I don't know, I can't remember. But I remember using the action replay to unlock that stuff, and nothing really happened.
For some reason, I got a memory from the N64 magazine as well, is that, like, once you get Banjo-Tooie comes out, they're going to put some code in the game, and then you can go back to Banjo-Kazooie and enter,
Yep.
and I can't remember, something like that. Yeah, that rings a bell. So back to the forums again. Eelst, and I'll shorten Eelst, he's gone on a bit here, but he says, brace yourself for this one. My favourite Castlevania game is Simon's Quest. That is Castlevania 2. Anybody agree with him?
I've never really played it, to be honest, so I can't comment.
I've never played it either, actually.
Yeah, Super Castlevania 4 is mine. I grew up with that on the SNES, and that is something special.
I know it's the black sheep of the family.
Yes.
But because it's like, why? Say you were going to say, sorry, because...
Yeah, I was going to say because of the RPG mechanics, basically. And there's a lot of travelling between different areas. The way that they've translated it makes it very obscure as to what you're supposed to be doing. And some of the NPCs, they just lie to you. They're just like, oh, you need to do this. And you don't need to do that. And you can waste so much time doing something someone tells you to do,
and it's not working.
It's completely useless. Yeah.
As in a similar vein, though, I'll agree with Eelts slightly here, and I will say, and this is, again, personal opinion, maybe it's a hot take, maybe it's not, but in a similar fashion, Zelda 2 is far, far, far better than the first Zelda, in my opinion. Like, personally, for me, the first Zelda is unplayable. I absolutely hate it.
I agree.
But the Zelda 2 is a very good game. I really like that.
I wouldn't go so far as very good.
For the NES.
I'd
for
say
the
it's
NES,
a better game. Yes, for the
good.
NES, it's a better game. Yeah.
It's a very good game.
I don't
I
really
agree with you there.
Don't really like either, to be fair.
Link to the Past obviously is much better, but Zelda 2 is cool. I wish they'd done more stuff that was introduced in that game. I wish they'd included a little bit more in the series. It was a nice experiment, and I think it worked well.
So then Jonas has said, first playing, I wonder if we all got this on Ocarina of Time. He's playing Ocarina of Time. He said he didn't understand you could dive further in the water by holding the A button longer. So when you're floating on top of the water, because you automatically float and then swim in the direction you push, if you press the A button quickly, you'll dive down, you duck below the surface, and then you come straight back up. But if you hold down A, you can dive further. So instead, there was this one section, and I'm guilty of this as well. I didn't understand this as well. There's a waterfall, a Zora waterfall in the Zora domain, where you can jump off the waterfall, hit the water, because you're travelling faster, you'll go further under the water and collect the coins at the bottom of the waterfall. You don't have to go to the top of the waterfall to jump off. You can just get above the coin in the pool at the bottom of the waterfall and dive down instead. He did exactly what I did, and spent many, many frustrated minutes at least running back up to the top of the waterfall to jump back off again.
After actually rings a bell. I think I remember doing that. Like, I had issues with the diving in Zelda as well. That was my first Zelda game, actually.
Wow.
So yeah, I maybe didn't understand all the things that we sort of become accustomed to over the years.
Yeah, shows the three of us did it. They mustn't have told us the mechanic properly. And Waka Jr., what did he say, Nick? His last one.
I virtually completed Majora's Mask before discovering that I could slow down time. I guess it made one boss battle especially exciting as time ticked down to the last couple of seconds, although the number of times I had to repeat activities because I just didn't have the time to complete things before the 3 days reset. Yeah, I didn't have this problem.
Not me, not for Majora's
But
Mask. No.
it definitely makes the game much harder if you can't slow down time. Much, much harder.
Yeah, like you said, some of those activities where you got to be in two places virtually the same time, that must have been rather challenging.
Yeah, I basically, like, as soon as I started the 3-day cycle, pretty much immediately slowed down the time every single time. And even then, like, it's still irritated by the the time restrictions.
Yeah.
So this is another example of stupidity in gaming and stupidity for ourselves. My biggest one I can remember is Conker's Bad Fur Day. There's a section where you have to drink lots of beer, and there are 2 fire imps, and you can urinate on them before they set light to yourself, because one of the quotes on it is like, "Ooh, look at that squirrel, he's highly flammable." And you urinate on them by pointing in a certain direction, and I didn't realise you could hold the Z button down to extend the stream. And the amount of times I played through that section with this tiny, tiny piddle coming out, and I still managed to do it.
Hold Z to pay respects.
Yeah.
I just remembered one in a similar vein, actually, GoldenEye. So my best friend when I was growing up got an N64 for his birthday, which was just after it launched, before I did. And he got Mario 64 and GoldenEye. And I obviously went to sleep over at his house on his birthday, and we spent 3 hours on the damned level of GoldenEye because we couldn't get through the set of double gates.
Oh, yeah.
Because we didn't know you had to press B on the switch. You know, there was that red and green switch. And the way we did it in the end was that we figured out if you go fast enough, you can go through at the same time as the truck, and you don't need to open the door. And it took us ages. I remember we were stood at that gate pressing B, 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 B at the gate, and nothing was happening. So yeah, that was a bit silly. But to be fair, we were like 11 years old, I think. So, and then first experience of 3D games for me completely.
Yeah,
so
likewise. You didn't go searching for the bungee rope or anything?
No, we didn't do that. Is that what you did?
Probably would have, but like my friend had actually rented it one time, and he had played the game a bit before, so when he brought it up, like, he knew what to do, so he just always knew what to do then.
Another one just popped in my mind for gaming stupidity, but this is being a child as well, is Ghosts and Goblins, before the Super Ghosts and Ghosts, so the previous one. I played it on Commodore 64, and playing old school platformers before, they tended to be one-screen affairs. So I played that game for weeks with my brothers, just stuck between the 2 first tombstones, killing the zombies that were popping out of the ground, thinking this is the game, not knowing there was a jump button. Oh, the fun when we found, you can jump. Oh.
Very good. I have one, well, 2 almost, kind of. I've never, like, as much as I cheated in GoldenEye to finish it, like, I've never actually really been a fan of cheating, and we obviously spoke about the action replay there. I've never owned one of those or anything like that either, other than, like, the freeloader on the GameCube, just to, like, play import discs or whatever. But we're all big fans of the N64 magazine, but do you ever remember a magazine called Cube?
Yep.
Yep. It always came with a couple of discs, like one with like videos and stuff to watch videos on your computer or whatever, and the other one was one which came with like action replay cheats for a small 60 games. It was usually like about 4 games or something. So one of them came with like Winning 11, so I was able to play, like, I bought the Japanese version 111, whatever, played that, whatever. But one was for Resident Evil 0, and that's partly one of the reasons why I'm tempted to buy the game again on Switch, because I really, really struggled with the difficulty in Resident Evil 0. I was never particularly good at those types of games, but like I felt like I didn't have any ammo, and even in those games, like I'm scared to like shoot stuff because it's like, oh, I'm gonna need those bullets for something difficult that's coming around the corner. And I definitely got to a stage in that game where I just could not progress at all. So I used the action replay disc that came with the magazine and beat that game. But I must have played through a substantial section of that game with just invincibility. Yeah, but even then, like I think I was probably using like a knife or whatever just to defeat the final boss and stuff, like because I'd used up all my items and stuff, or like all my weapons and stuff. So like I even was then like thinking, if I wasn't using this invincibility, like I'd still be like, how on earth would I have ever beaten this game?
I'm so interested for you to play that Resident Evil 0 now and see how you feel about it these days.
Yeah. Could be a good show.
Nick, what was yours?
Mine isn't really a gaming sin, it's more of a gaming confession. And it's something that I'm very, very embarrassed about. Obviously, when the Wii launched, I was extremely hyped about it, and I was extremely in love with it. I threw a party the day it came out, and everyone was round playing Wii Sports. I had like 10 people around at my house playing Wii Sports. We had a great time. And I got with it. I got Twilight Princess and Red Steel, which I genuinely believed at the time was better than GoldenEye, and probably for about the entirety of the Wii's lifespan believed that it was better than GoldenEye. I've since revised that opinion because it's really not. But I thought that game was like a revolution at the time. And I know like it didn't perform very well in sales really, and it like got slated by quite a few websites. Like it wasn't given like good scores. But my first 2 or 3 playthroughs of that game, I absolutely adored it, and I thought the controls were incredible. And I just didn't understand. I thought the story was really good. I mean, obviously it had been rushed because it was a launch game. There could have been more story there, but I was genuinely convinced that this is like that moment when you play GoldenEye for the first time and you understand like this is the future. I honestly felt the same with Red Steel, and looking back now, that's pretty shameful. because I have gone back to it in recent years, and it is absolute garbage.
Yeah, it is. Like, I'm kind of the same. Like I never thought it was better than GoldenEye, but I did really enjoy it back at the time. And the first time I played it, it's like the controls felt like exactly how I imagined it was going to feel. Mm-hmm. I was like, oh, this is brilliant, and it's really, really not.
It's not. Like Metroid Prime did the gyro Wii remote controls really well, and Red Steel was okay, but it was still far too inaccurate, and there were too many problems. But just the action of flipping over a table and then picking off the guys with the rear felt so good at the time, even though it had its problems. But yeah, that's my biggest gaming, let's say, cringe moment rather than sin.
The only other thing I would have would maybe be like something of a confession on behalf of like an old friend. Something like there used to be like, I live out in the country, like, and there's a couple of people like lived up the road from me or whatever. But one of them, I'm not even sure if I buy this story anymore really, but he used to have a PlayStation 2 and it stopped working. And the story is that he bought a PlayStation 2, like a brand new one, got it home, cleaned up his old one, put it in the box and said it wasn't working, and returned it to the shop. I can't verify this, but that's what I was told happened.
I'm sure it's happened to quite a few people. I haven't done it myself.
Shameful.
It is.
It is pretty shameful, to be fair.
Okay.
But I mean, if you're under 18, I think it's pretty logical what you could do. Get a new PlayStation for free.
It's Borstal for you, boy. So, any more before we move on to the last, and that is Clown Ferret's confession? He hasn't given us the go-ahead to use this, but I'm going to use it anyway because it did make me chuckle. And it was on Discord, and it popped up out of context, but he did say, "Hi, my name is Anders, and I'm a FIFA Fortnite alcoholic."
To be fair, Clown Ferret, having looked at his like playtime for those games, it is pretty bad, isn't it? It's like 1,000 hours in FIFA 19, 500 in FIFA 20, and his Fortnite's I think like 600 or 700 hours.
Yeah, it's at least 700. Yeah.
Oh well,
Absolutely
if he's having fun, who are we to judge?
That's it.
At least he knows he has a problem. That's the first step.
I wonder if he'll have that like Red Steel moment in a few years' time. Like, this is trash.
We can only hope so. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to hit the subscribe button and give us a like if you've enjoyed our content. You can also check out our other great content on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and the N-E Café podcast from all good podcast providers. Just follow the links in the description below.